Hey Jackie, how you doing? Good evening. Hey Jay, are you at work? Hey Versatile, how you doing, brother? God bless you. How's it going? I'm glad you're here. You're supposed to have fixed your first call with me, Versatile, because you are on my Patreon, right? Ah, hey Chris, how are you doing? Good evening. Yeah, Versatile. Why haven't you like if any of you have signed up on my Patreon, you should book your call. Come on, let's get going. I need to talk to you. Good evening, good evening. Now, my question is why is Ripple raising 1 billion via SPAC, the special acquisition company, to buy XRP? Why are they doing that? Do you know they're doing that? Is anybody aware they're doing that? Are you aware? How many of you know this news? What I just shared. Jay Mirza, you're speaking in Patois. I don't understand what you just said. Yeah, so what are your thoughts? So I'm on here tonight just to chat with you. It's Sunday tomorrow. I hope you'll be in church. You'll be among the saints to worship. I'm looking forward to service tomorrow. We had I was hosting a conference. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, it's not stock, remember. It's always remember this is a commodity, not a security. Stock is security, crypto is commodity. Please hit the like button. Thank you so much, Chris. Everybody hit the like button. Why did they buy? They haven't bought it. Okay, let me share the news with you because right now you may not. Give me 1 second. Okay, so here's the Coin Telegraph, one of the major online papers, online news sources for cryptocurrency. So this was on October 17th, was just yesterday. This came out, and it's funny when they're doing things and they're not like on Friday. Why not on Monday, right? Excuse me. Ripple Labs is already a significant XRP holder with its market report from earlier this year, revealing it had 4.5 billion tokens in its stash, with another 37 billion locked in escrow. Ripple Labs is reportedly on the cusp of launching a fundraising effort to purchase 1 billion worth of its XRP token to hold in a digital asset treasury, according to Bloomberg. The fundraiser is being organized through a special purpose acquisition company, or SPAC, Bloomberg reported on Friday, citing anonymous people with knowledge of the matter. The digital asset treasury will consist of the freshly bought XRP, and Ripple will also throw in some of its own stockpile, but the exact terms of the transaction are still being hashed out and could change before the deal is inked, according to Bloomberg sources. So this is a company who is going out all over the place, purchasing Hidden Road, purchasing, G Treasury. Is it GT or G Treasury? All of these companies that basically they are taking over the banking and the financial market landscape. Okay, so that's the news there. The funds are to be housed inside of a new digital asset treasury, or DAT, according to people familiar with the matter. So here's what I want to ask you. Okay, hold on a second. Let's read this. Um, Okay, the deal would make Ripple the leading XRP treasury. So, in this article alone, there's a couple of things we're going to see. I'm going to talk about three things, but I want to ask you guys, let me hear your thoughts first before I go on. You didn't understand why. Well, Jackie, they haven't bought it. Things might change, but it's very obvious they're going to buy. Now, a lot of people need to understand. So, let me ask you a question. Let me see how you're not. So, how many XRPs were pre-minted or pre-mined? Sorry, pre-mined before their launch. How many XRPs were pre-mined? Hey, Tim Demar, how you doing? God bless you. Makes sense. They would realize that their native tokens are what, but being combined with rules and they need to release tokens. Okay, good. Okay. Um, I'm guessing they know it'll make a lot of money. Want to prove people it's legit? I have no idea. Versatile, you are over the target. And again, I'm not saying that what saying is 100% correct, but We have to think. We're supposed to be thinkers. We're supposed to be observing. There's this famous saying, follow the money, watch the money. Even the Bible says money answers all things. What that means, in my opinion, is you observe the flow of money in any society and you'll understand. If somebody's buying something, there's a reason why. People buy socks and underwear and t-shirts and jeans, excuse me, for a reason, right? So Jackie's question is thoughtful. Yeah, I didn't understand why exactly. So let's try to dig in and see what's going on here. So my first thought, okay, here's the thing, okay. We all know that there's XRP and Escrow, right? That they control. Well, they don't really control it because it's not manipulable. It's not, is that the right way to say it? Manipulable or manipulatable? I think it's manipulable. The right term is it's not manipulable. So they can't manipulate the timed release of 1 billion XRP every month. Okay. Look, guys, there's a reason why I talk about XRP a lot. Okay. I rarely talk about all the other ISO 222 cryptos. I rarely ever talk about some of the other cryptos that are actually now co-joining with the XRP ledger or XRP in a sense. Did you know that even Axela, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Let me just, I want to write something here so I don't forget. And that's Flare and Axela. Okay. You do your research. Okay. You will find that, okay, there are, when people come out and say, oh, XRP has this reserve, they're just cheating the people, they're just selling their token every day. The point is this: they had a vision, and they've, in order not to be beholding, this is my own understanding, beholding to any venture capitalists, beholding to any government entity, which again, they are part, in my opinion, of the government. It's like Coinbase. I think at a point, a company, even Elon Musk, has to be part of the government somehow. I'm not saying he's a politician or anything like that, but you see, they have to work with the government that is in power at the time. You are building rockets, going to space, you're doing all these things. You have the addresses of, like almost every human being on earth on Google, and you think the government will not be kind of buddying up to them for certain reasons. Nobody succeeds like that without some measure, with that kind of reach, without some measure of government fingers and hands in their pie. So there is something going on. Okay, so in the same way, I see Bitcoin that way, that you can't convince me that the National Security Agency is not involved in Bitcoin. You can't convince me that somehow China, that there isn't something happening where some of these massive entities, big countries, superpower countries, G20 countries, are not somehow involved. Because look at the trust they have in Bitcoin. They don't say, oh, this country owns it, so we're not going to. Remember, the people who started Bitcoin, they were all talking about it being decentralized and not having any everything they said Bitcoin wasn't going to be is what it is today. Why? Bitcoin is now, in my opinion, while it's a decentralized currency, so to speak, right? You can go on the blockchain, you can do whatever. It is being, how would I say, encouraged. It is being purchased. It is in government stockpiles. Remember when Germany sold their Bitcoin? Most people did not know that Germany had that kind of stash of Bitcoin. President Trump came out and said they're going to they're going to hold Solana, XRP, and Cardano in a digital asset stockpile. The reason is simply because these things are going to be extremely valuable. If you hold those types of crypto assets today, my friend, you are going to be wealthy. Now, let's now look at the points I want to make. So, first of all, let's look at what is held in escrow. Okay, the amount that is held in escrow for Ripple. I'll stop sharing so that I can, the amount that is held in escrow with Ripple, right, is time released every month. And this is the ecosystem. This is the design. It's algorithmic. They can manipulate it every month. October 1, 1 billion is released. Then 700 million goes back, and then they have 300 million out there. And so people like, okay, they are dumping tokens on people all the time. It's because people do not understand. It's a very unique project, the XRPL. It is meant to move all the world's financial resources, tokenize everything. Now, when we say tokenize everything, there are going to be, let me put it this way. You know how money moved through England or London, let's just say London, for years and years and years. When I grew up in Nigeria. When people were going to send money, they had what they call correspondent banks. And your money, first of all, touched the correspondent bank. Well, it wasn't flying in the air. It's just messages that are sent. Telex. Then you had Swift came to replace Telex in 1973. It's all messaging. So, excuse me. Then individuals, banks, central banks are all included and all involved in this extended messages that are going from one bank to the other, all the way to community banks, to agricultural banks, to whatever it is that was set up, credit unions. There was what we call a correspondent bank. Now, it was all designed that way because the people that control the levers of the financial system make sure that they are always taken care of. And for many years, Great Britain ruled the world, right, with their, colonialization. So as modern banking developed, of course, they set headquarters up. One way to look at it is that look at flight maps. Now, if you're a pilot, Chris, maybe you can tell me if I'm wrong. But it's interesting that you can actually fly direct to certain locations. Why is it that we have to fly to Europe in order to get to Africa, or fly to a certain country in Europe before we get to, all of this is designed just to ensure that the money that is being moved in that industry, right, is cares for certain entities that are the power brokers. So, in the same regard, as Ripple is building this massive thing, right, that is going to be global, um, they also have to show you the first thing: legitimacy. Legitimacy. When people criticize and say, and it doesn't matter even if they didn't do it, but they have to do it. It shows legitimacy. They believe in the product. Because number two, first legitimacy, and then number two, they believe in the product because whatever XRP is going to be left. Remember, there are 1,700 and some non-disclosure agreements, and I want to beg you here. I want to appeal to you to believe that part of what is in those non-disclosure agreements. Remember, I said whenever you want to know what's in a non-disclosure agreement, watch what they are doing, and you will know. So suddenly they go and buy G Treasury. It was there. What has happened is they just opened the non-disclosure. It's non-disclosure, right? Now they just opened the non-disclosure. So now they're buying their own native asset, right? On the blockchain it tells you where things are going. That in the same way where some people brag and say, oh, some developers, we don't own, which is a good brag. We have renounced ownership. At some point, the XRP ledger will run with nobody saying Ripple created it, but Ripple will now be a company that is more or less it started as a fintech that is now mostly doing banking. They don't have to create one other product. They hit it right with XRP as a digital asset of the XRP ledger, and they don't need to do anything else. That is more than enough for them for generations to come. And so you would see, when WikiCat says, I always, use some of these projects that are sitting there as like people look down on them. Why did the developer, the primary guy there, Sir Mappy, and all of the developers renounce ownership? So that it becomes something that is led by the community. Shiba Inu. These are all foretastes of the things to come. As Christians, we know there's something called the foretaste of the glory that is to come. So there is a foretaste. There's always something that is happening that speaks of what is about to come. And so at some point, the XRPs that you are looking at are spoken for. That's my second major point. The first is legitimacy. If you buy your own product, if you buy what you believe in, you are showing legitimacy because Vivo Power is in it. The US government is already stockpiling. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, they are all looking at XRP and beginning to create digital asset, stockpiles. So if companies are doing it in Japan, if banks are going to have to keep some XRP or hold some XRP, if spot ETFs are about to be approved by the SEC and they will hold XRP, not like the futures, ETFs, but the spot ETFs have to hold. So here's what I was going to say. There's only 100 billion, including what is in escrow. So are you telling me that there won't be a supply shock? They know where things are going. When you start seeing the business guy who owns a gas station making his family pay for the gas that they buy. Yeah, his children go to a private school. Yeah, they take luxury vacations once or twice a year. They do well financially. But when their teenage daughter wants to fill up the gas tank, they say, "Don't go down to Mr. So and so. Come to daddy or mommy's and mommy's gas station and buy your gas. Uncle wants gas, come there." They make sure the money is rotating in the family. They're investing in something they believe in. They believe in it so well. The gas station man knows that his gas is good. He knows that it will not clog up. There won't be issues, right? There will not. I'm just saying that generally, just to show, right? Because of course you shouldn't sell gas that is bad. If you do, you will get a lawsuit on your head. But the point is for you to understand they believe in their product. So they know that a supply shock is coming. And what will cause a supply shock? So let me share something with you. Do you know that Flair's goal is to lock between 5 to 8 billion? You can research this for yourself. Flair's goal is to lock between 5 to 8 billion XRPs. Now, they're not going to go and do that directly. They're going to do that through people and corporations and banks and la stradfy in the future as regulations get clear. Remember, retail is the testing ground. All of these things we go and do on DeFi and everything is the testing ground. And these organizations, these companies, these fintech companies that be built. Remember, Ripple bought a company in Toronto here called Rails. Rails. Rails was created by two guys. Two guys. I've showed you also my app here called ShakePay, created by one guy in Montreal. And ShakePay sells Bitcoin and Ethereum only. They just added US dollar to it recently. And they are a small bank. In fact, you can now earn your paycheck. You can't pick up the phone and call them. Everything is online. Digital assistant, agentic AI, that's all it is. But you can't pick up your phone and call somebody and talk to anybody. No, no, no. And they've grown. They are laying it up. It's like a basketball shot. On my Patreon, I talk about the layup, right? The layup coaching level. They're laying up because eventually Fidelity will go to one of these companies, and Bank of Montreal will go to them, or Fidelity in the US will go to all of these wallets that you see actively, WebAuth, all of these are digital banks already. And old money is going to come. Do you know what old money looks like? We're talking trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars. So they're all, Ripple knows that if they are going to continue as a fintech company and do some innovative things, they have to hold it. And maybe what they are holding, they can move into the bank. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how, because Ripple as a company will probably be, because they apply for a license to be a bank, right? So Ripple Bank, uh, they'll have the fintech company that will also, one way or the other, have relationship with the bank. This is all I'm speculating, but I hope you're thinking and seeing what I'm saying. So when you look at the reality that a supply shock will come, so if FX, and I know FXRP, that is Flare assets, will get there. The level of minting and borrowing that is taking place. If you go on Flare and you look, you can research this on ChatGPT, you can do it on Grok. The amount that has already been minted already, and the amount that is supplied to liquidity pools, as well as what's coming out as reward, it's unreal. And the tongue, or I mean the mouth of the traditional system is basically salivating, like, oh my God, they want it so badly. Okay, so there will be a supply shock. I just gave you an example. So if Flare is looking to lock 5 to 8 billion XRP, and then you're looking at in this DeFi setting, and then you are looking at Axela looking to lock another 3 billion, that's 10 billion out of the amount in circulation already. Now, back to the non-disclosure. How do we know that part of the non-disclosure is that they have actually parted out who takes what? Japan will need some XRP. Asia, the other, remember, Japan is major in Asia. Then you got China, you got all of these countries. Remember how I showed you once? If you Google Ripple bank IDs, you see all the countries where they've given with Australia, China, the United Kingdom, France, all over the world, they've issued bank IDs, except for some other smaller countries that have to go through. Again, it'll be like today where you have a correspondent bank, like Citibank is correspondent bank to so many banks across the world, coming from, say, Africa and South America into the United States, and so on and so forth. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have Ripple becoming a bank. Well, it's all spoken for. So they already know who's going to get so much over the counter. And people are like, oh, the big boys are buying. They're not letting anybody. The big boys would always buy, and nobody, it wouldn't shake the market. It's all an arrangement. It's all deals. They are getting ready for something major that is coming. And this is why you have to park your boat by the yacht, right by the dock, waiting for the tide to come in. Because listen, my friends, when the tide comes in, all boats rise. When the tide comes in, what did I say? All boats rise. I want you to write there in the comments, my boat will rise with the tide. Or just say, my boat will rise. Hey, Pupunida, I didn't see you coming. Professor MGTO, please like the video. There's very little XRP to buy in exchanges already. Exactly. I'm not like, I'm just here talking, but what I'm telling you, you can fact check me on, or you can just find out, because I'm not giving you exact figures. I'm just telling you what I know. I don't want to go and start showing you. I don't want to do a detailed deep dive. What I'm saying, you can go check it. You can pause the video, rewind it to what I said, and check whether these things are so. Somebody just said that right now there isn't that much supply. Was that Team Duma or somebody else? There isn't that much supply available on the exchanges. It's dwindling. It is. And the massive move, and this is what will cause a sudden rise in the price of this digital asset. Like, I don't know how people can say this is fake, it's a scam. Is it like, where do people are people just, is it cognitive dissonance? Is what is it? Yes, keep writing. My boat will rise. My boat will rise. Thank you, Team Dumar. I agree. That's why I'm like, I don't need to show you all these things, because you can do it yourself. AI gives you this in 3-4 seconds. It gives you all of the information. Maximum is, there are some things I ask AI, it won't have quick answers for me, because AI can't really predict the future. It has to take what it is that is present and what has been done, and then spit it out to you, right? It will consult like 15 to 25 websites and give you information. You see the links. Some people ask ChatGPT as if it's a human being. We do it like, because we think, oh, we're talking to somebody, another human. No, it's all algorithmic programming and digging into all that's been, but all that's been done, but it does it at lightning speed. So we can't comprehend that. My boat is rising. Yes. So that's it. If you have a canoe and you are sitting by the water's edge, right, and you have this nice, lovely looking yacht, haven't you gone to the dock? One day I was in Vancouver, and that's what I saw. We got on a boat and went to this island called oh yeah, I forget the name of the beautiful place. In fact, they have gardens there where they farm over the summer, and they'll, the potatoes, the lettuce, and everything like that comes from their land, and they store things, they, beets, all that, and we had very good food. And I remember that as we approached in our vehicle, and we parked and came off to go, came off the vehicle to go on the boat taking us, further into the water. I remember looking at all kinds of boats there. There's ones that look like they came out of 1955, 1979. And then there's ones that are gleaming, shiny. You can tell this is, somebody, some wealthy individual who owns that, a boat, and they're all sitting there. All right. I didn't see a catamaran, but I saw something that really looked like a yacht, but not a very big one. And I'm thinking to myself, that thing was probably worth about maybe 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. I don't know. I can't tell. But here you are. I'm looking at the one we're going into, and it's sitting there. It's not sinking, even though it's small and it looks poverty stricken. But it's a taxi. It's a water taxi, and we sit in there. There's like I think 8 or 9 of us, and there we go. It was an executive team trip out into the water and on that island. And I remember it was bobbing up and down the water before we left, and I just could imagine when the tide comes in, that boat will also rise. Friends, you have a boat and you've invested in some digital assets. Again, I tend to focus a lot on XRP because I do a lot of research on it. I saw it years ago that this thing is going to be the most valuable of all of these digital assets in the way that it's been designed. I think it is the next Bitcoin, and not just that. It'll do way, way, way more than Bitcoin could have ever been imagined. All right. So I talked about legitimacy. I talked about whatever XRP is left is already spoken for. It's spoken for. This is my belief. And you know what? You could disagree with me, but it's spoken for. For the most part, what Ripple hold in escrow to release is mostly spoken for as ETFs are. That's what I've been saying. That we're not too sure. But listen to all these interviews, and they are not allowed to say exactly how it will pan out. It's supposed to be done. And how many of you, for example, knew that Ripple will buy G Treasury? Is it GT Treasury or G Treasury? Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Ripple buys G Treasury. I just want to make sure I'm saying it right. Yeah, G Treasury. So they buy Treasury, and you ask yourself, so are these companies just sitting down there waiting to be purchased? The plan had been made that as we're coming along on this highway of change, we're going to buy you. We're going to buy you. Remember, there was this big talk about them buying Circle USDC, and that they put an offer on the table. When Brad Garlinghouse was asked, he said, he couldn't really talk about it. And at the end of the day, they didn't buy Circle. What happened less than a month after all of that rumor of them, placing a bid to buy Circle? You remember, there are people that work like you and me in these institutions, in these places where the deals are taking place, in the brokers' offices, in the lawyers' offices. So there's no smoke without fire. These people will come out and say, hey, there's a deal about to take place. There's a deal. There's something coming out of the presidency. There's something coming. This is how people hear. Those of us who are not privileged to know can watch the movement of money. So GT Treasury, Circle, there was that. Sorry, Circle, there was that. There was the rumor that they were going to purchase Circle, and then from nowhere they just pulled back on that. And what now happened? Circle came on the XRP ledger. So if you go to your Zaman wallet, you will find out that RLUSD is right there, ready to rumble. You can exchange it, or your XRP, into RLUSD. You can exchange it into USDC. And you can add other stable coins on there too, as well as some XRP ledger digital assets. All right. So the third thing that I would say is they are doing exactly what, one second here. Ripple is doing exactly what they have told others or said others can do. They're doing exactly what Vivo Power has done. They are doing exactly what all of these companies who are now buying and putting XRP. A company buys $100 million worth of XRP and says, we're holding it. Why are they doing that? Because they know where it's going. And what's going to happen is, because this one has done it, somebody else will do it, somebody else will do it. What do you think will happen to something that only has 100 billion supply? 8 billion is already spoken for. Most probably, they will get their goal. And do you know when the Flare Assets is targeting to reach their 5 to 8 billion? And when Axela is targeting to reach 3 billion, it's in June of 2026. That's how quickly they want this to happen. See, you can owe so much, and you just can't. Yeah, I'll address that before I go tonight. Thank you for that question on Ellipal. Yeah, so I'll address that in a minute. So those three things, whatever. The first thing is legitimacy. When you buy what you say you believe in and you use it for yourself. I remember I used to sell home cleaning systems. There was this vacuum cleaner that was very good, very powerful. It was sold for $3,500. And I remember I used to go door to door to sell. I made good money at the time. That was years ago, much younger then. And I had, God bless me with great marketing skills. I'll sell this thing. And it's a good product. Good products are easier to sell when you have great marketing skill. A bad product will give you lawsuits, will give people, cause people to be asking for refunds and pounding down your door. So you need a good product and a good salesperson, and then boom, you do very well. And I remember that I won one because I sold 10 units in 1 month. So I won one, which I was using. But listen, I could have bought one myself. And I remember one day I had just arrived for work at 3 p.m. at the head office. And as I went in, the manager called me. He says, hey, come. Hey, come see. And I said, what? He said, somebody just came in who used to work here. She left and got married. And she decided that she wanted to buy a vacuum cleaner. She came and she dropped $3,500 in cash to purchase. She didn't even ask for a discount because she knew the product was very good. So she had been a salesperson in that organization, and she then left to go work elsewhere. She found it very hard to sell. But when it was time for her to buy a vacuum system, she came back to that company to purchase. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm not talking of Filter Queen or any of those things. It was called X. I think it was called XPR or something like that. Can you imagine? That's yeah. I think that was the name of it. I think no, the company was XPR, and then I forget the name of the. Yeah, it's been a long time, but I remember selling my first month. I sold like 12 units. They couldn't believe it. They offered me to open a branch after 1 month of working with them. I said, no, I'm a preacher. I'm only doing this to earn money. I'm building a church, So anyway, but let me read comments. Approximately 35.9 billion are locked in escrow contracts under Ripple Labs. There's also an addition for Ripple that are not in circulation, not part of the escrow contracts. Combined, that means roughly held back from free market circulation under Ripple's control. Yes. That's true. That's what I'm saying. So, Francisco, the question I'm asking now is, if you tie into what I'm saying, do you think they're just going to hold that forever just to be rich, just to be no? That's spoken for. They had to test the market. They had to let the thing out there because they always use the population to test things. They put out ideas in movies to see how you feel about it. Then they put it, and then we tell you where these exchanges, many of them will disappear, and some are going to become part of an extension of a bank. It'll be like a desk, the trading desk of, how TD Bank of Canada, Royal Bank of Canada, CIBC, and in the Bank of America, all of these banks, they have different arms in the marketplace, in the financial marketplace, right? Some of them are invested in insurance companies. In fact, insurance companies are even wealthier than banks, if you didn't know it, because they don't pay out anybody. What they pay out in insurance is actually, the rule of insurance is to pay out as little as possible of your insurance pool. Because you see what I mean? That's why, they almost want to discourage you from getting a payout. But you have to, if you have a loss, they have to pay that. And the idea behind insurance is ubirama fide, which is Latin for utmost good faith, and where insurance is not meant to enrich you, it is meant to put you in the same position you were in just before a loss. All right, but there's always a wiggle room. You got your car in a crash, you might end up getting a better car. You might end up getting a payout that helps you to get into a better vehicle than the one you even had, just because you know how to move the market and get deals and all of that. It's all part of the whole thing. But essentially, insurance companies are part of the financial system, and they are with, and that all of this ISO 202 we're talking about, you're going to see that working because they work. The universal banking has all of these things networked together. But by and large, all I'm saying is it is spoken for. Okay, let me go to this question of the Ellipal wallet. Ellipal, so Ellipal has never had any breach. What happened with this situation was, I have been studying it for the last 2 days since the gentleman came out. Very sad story. I pray the FBI is able to help him. I pray they research and find, because when they steal your thing, you can actually see it walking away in the blockchain, the scanner, right? So anyway, what happened was, it appears from what because he kept saying it's his fault, but he never truly said what he did. But I on a Twitter thread, I found out that he had imported his cold wallet seed phrase onto a hot wallet. Now, you know that you can import your seed phrase onto different browsers. For example, the Brave browser, the Google, like different browser, you can do that, right? Via extension. Now, here's the thing. If you ever have an opportunity to create a secondary wallet in any multi-chain wallet, these are the loose holes of blockchain. Remember, there are bridge um, systems. Okay, bridge network. There is a way to bridge networks. When you're on a wallet like MetaMask, I believe it is, you see where it says bridge. So those assets that have bridge capabilities would show you opportunity, that a button for you to be able to bridge two blockchain assets that do not talk, so you can move one asset to the other. So if you ever open a hot wallet, now hot wallets can be very risky. In my opinion, I think the best one out there, from what I've heard, and again, this is not to tell you what to do or what to get, it would be the Rabbi wallet, which is an EVM wallet, as it were. The MetaMask is a hot wallet also, and people have reported losses from what's the other one? A Trust Wallet, right? So he had imported his seed phrase. This is what I heard. So you can research that and keep following the story. But when you have an Airgapped wallet, like how is anybody going to get there? How is anybody? And I don't even know why people would leave $3 million in one wallet. I think it's risky. I think people should begin to think of moving their stuff around. I don't know that wealthy people leave all their money in one bank account or in one asset. They don't do that. In fact, the reason why they borrow from the successful hotel that has 20 bedrooms, now after 5 years, they say, good, I can take equity out. They don't just go and take a lavish vacation. They spend $5,000 enjoying something, and then they take the 50, 60, 70, 100,000, put it down for this other property, $1 million, put it down for this other property, and that's how they go. Many people who have owned 10 houses, when you ask them what they did, they bought the first one. It always started with one. Then they looked at the equity in it, and it all begins with how you buy, and then they kept moving based on that. So back to what I was saying, so that I don't get on the rabbit trail here, or the rabbit wallet. But the point is, you must be careful how you are with your seed phrases. You must write your seed phrases down. Please, those of you who like to take screenshots of your seed phrase, I beg you, in the name of Jesus Christ, delete those screenshots. If you have written them on papers all over the place, put them in a safe and secure place. There are all kinds of ways you can research how to protect your seed phrases. Okay. I wouldn't know if Zaman can create the problem. Like, I don't know what Zaman can do, but I won't put everything on any wallet. I will spread my risk. This is why I say have a Tangem wallet. Okay. Have your Tangem wallet, have your ledger. Okay. Have a book that you write all your seed phrases in. This little book here, have a little book that you write your seed phrases in. It makes sense to do that. Yeah. So, and then keep them in a secure location. And if anybody takes your seed phrase book, the book doesn't contain all your seed phrases. So if anybody gets the book, it's not, everything is not there, right? It's, you have, 12 seed phrases, one word is somewhere else. So there's only 11. You got to find out the other word. And if you always be very careful, I don't like it when systems populate and help me guess. I just like me to be able to do my thing myself. Don't help me. So I may be wrong about all this, but that's what as I was looking at the matter, that's why I heard happened, and it would be nice for him. In fact, Ellipal investigated the matter because it got a lot of people worried. Oh, now they're going to lose their stuff. And Ellipal is the world's first air-gap wallet. It's easy to use. Tangem is also great. It doesn't give you seed phrases, but it has its own internal seed phrase thing and memorizes everything. Again, what is safe? I don't really know. It appears it's safe. Here's what I do. I'm following the money. I look at all the people. They had ledgers before we knew about ledgers. Then they tested it in the open market. They had Tangem before they told us about it. Then they tested it in the open market. So the wealthy also use these things, right? The elite also use these things. The politicians who are making the rules, they use these things as well. Then they now make a law. No, you don't. You can't go. They will now cut everybody out and say, well, if you want to invest in crypto, go to the banks. Go to your life insurance company. They now offer it. At that point, do you see what is happening? One guy was walking, I think it was in Australia, and he was doing a video and he was showing the people lining up for gold. He said, guys, I want to show you my exit liquidity for my gold. He's been buying gold from years ago, and he's a young guy too, but he points his camera to show a lineup of people, like as far as the eyes could see, waiting to get in and buy gold because gold on the streets. The same is happening in Thailand, in Vietnam, in China, all over the world. People are lining up because gold is going at an all-time high. And what happens when there's a pullback of 30% in the next couple of days? Because all it takes is for the news stations to start talking about gold is going up. There's no end in sight. It's going to keep going. Oh my God, gold. Woo, ha, 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 hee, hoo. And what do you think about gold today? And somebody very nice guy. Well, yeah, Vanessa, I think that gold is going to be whatever. And this is, if you want to put this is where you put your money now. Gold is at 4,200 at all-time high. You think it's going to stop at that? They keep going on on and on. And what happens? People flock in, they go buy. So the guy says, this is my exit liquidity. All right. Okay. So Gary Sandu, there was no indication that it was an airdrop. Again, I think from what I'm hearing, he had imported his seed phrase into a new wallet that was created sub to the one that he already had. And it was not a cold wallet, as it were. It was indeed a hot wallet. And that's where trouble started. But I don't know what to say. Yeah. So, okay, you said someone mentioned this call. All right. Okay. I heard that too, but then I saw another one where it had to do with a seed phrase imported. But Pupunita, do you have a ledger? So here's what I think can happen with your ledger for you who Pupunita you're asking. Here's what I think can happen. All right. Do you don't interact with spurious airdrop? Somebody texted me the other day and said, I see something in my wallet. They're asking me to claim this. I said, did you buy it? No. Delete it. And what wallet are you using? Oh, I'm on MetaMask. Well, get off of MetaMask. Something appeared on my Trust wallet. I didn't buy it. It's just sitting there. And it's showing me that it's $20,000. Is it your money? Why do you want to click on it? You didn't invest money to get $20,000. And the name is some funny name. All right, this is what you need to do. What you need to do is get it, remove the token. That's all you got to do. Yeah. I'm very leery of all of these promotions. Those are also ads that are going out with Paxos Gold and all that. Remember, the way to get the wealthy get wealthier, and they do also participate in the wealth transfer, is that they know that there's 1 million people who are using these wallets, and that if they can only get people to buy $100 each, they just creamed out $100 million. This is how the whole thing, it's all about. I always say, why do the person who makes a toothbrush designs one for everybody else is very wealthy, because everybody uses a toothbrush or some kind of a thing to clean their mouth in the morning or in the night before they go to bed. So yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, airdrops are not something that the Flare airdrop was legitimate. It had Ripple's backing, and if you have your Flare on Bifrost, you can, Bifrost is also built on the Flare network. And then you can get, and this is why your investment in crypto should be a little at a time. You don't just, some people have sold their houses to put into crypto, but you you hedge your bets and you do what you can. And over time, you just see that the accumulation has grown. And then one other thing that I'm going to do when the next thing comes, there's an increase, I will look at my cryptos and then take profit. Very important. Francisco Diaz has some good advice. I don't have any of the metal sheet ones, but that's very good advice. I agree with you 100%, because metal, when there's fire or anything like that, it's there, no issue at all. Yes, I saw that. Pupunita, I saw his stuff, but you have to understand, how do people break into your ledger? How do they break into your Ellipal? It's impossible, because you've got a seed phrase that has to be used to move, and then you've got these are multi-sig systems, multi-sign, so to speak. A blind signing can only be used, for example, when you're minting, it will request for you to authorize blind signing. That's a completely different thing. You can't even do that without your pass code on the ledger. So, and with ledger, the way it works, if you guess the seed phrase 3 times and it's wrong, it locks you out. Sorry, the password, passcode 3 times, you're out. and you have to now import this. Yeah, it's very sad. But I think because it's a big story, the FBI will get on it. It will be a poster case to be able to help people recover their funds. Whoever stole his money, he may be able to get some of it back at some point. Maybe not the whole 3 million. He may get two. He may get, because once people know that they're being watched, they become careful. They may just stop. And if they were KYC'd somewhere and they withdraw somewhere, you see, listen, remember the Silk Road incident, how they were able to find all that Bitcoin with the Silk Road thing. Well, how did they find it? They found it because the government decided to track it. People think they can hide. No, you can't. If they choose to look for the person, they'll find them. They'll find them. Yeah. Kosasi Nakamoto on X today talked about how he had 100 Bitcoin that was worth nothing, 100 of them, and he never sold it. And now today, that Bitcoin is worth a lot of money. So let's keep our cryptos. Yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Why is Ripple raising 1 billion via a special acquisition company, otherwise known as SPAC? Well, because they believe in the product. They believe in the product. That's the first thing or the second thing or whatever. And it gives legitimacy to their quest. And, when I am surprised that people still say it's a scam. It's not. I don't think it's a scam. I don't believe it's a scam. my goodness. Look at all the DeFi applications. It's just people who are like this. They decide not to look. I have some Bitcoin. I don't hate Bitcoin, but I can buy Bitcoin at the price it is right now. Oh, I'm going to say this. Do you remember when Michael Saylor said, if you're not taking Bitcoin, if you're not buying Bitcoin at the top, you are leaving money on the table? And I would rather have, and I bought, when he was saying that, I bought WikiCat. The WikiCat went up 25 times. The Bitcoin went up how many times? It goes up 7% because it's 100,000. If it goes up 7%, it's 107. And people are, did you see Bitcoin? Did you see Bitcoin? And the people who are doing this, did you see Bitcoin? Did you see Bitcoin? They don't have Bitcoin. They don't have a lot of it. They just want to come on channels and argue with people that Bitcoin is better. When somebody tells you, how come Bitcoin is 120,000 and XRP is $2.50? They don't know anything. They don't understand percentages. You see what I mean? They don't understand that whatever you hold, it's all ROI is what you're looking at, the return on investment. That's all you're looking at. Not, again, you you want to hold Bitcoin, but if you miss Bitcoin at $1,000, at $10,000, what are you talking about? Take the 10,000 you have, go and buy something that will that will explode, and don't let anybody mock you and say all coins are not good. All coins, if there was a Ford, there will be a Toyota. If there's a Toyota, there will be a Kia. If there's a Kia, there will be a Hyundai. That's life. Michael Saylor, you know what? If you go back 20 years, you know how he crashed and lost $1 billion, right? Or whatever it was. And now he's back doing it similar to what he's done before. It's funny how the same people. So the question you have to ask is, who is backing them? Who is behind all this? They have to have some kind of connection to do it all over again. So he's got Jones. He knows if it happens, it happens. He'll be fine. They'll help settle him. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to be burned. Somebody's taking $1,000, put it in Bitcoin. Say, I have $1,000 in Bitcoin. I hear it will be $1 million one day. There was a video my wife watched. She told me, she asked me my opinion. In this video, the lady, I think she's from Australia, she says, all you need, or was it a guy? This is two different videos, maybe. Said all you need is 0.20 Bitcoin. That's all. Just get 0.20 of Bitcoin. So what's that? 0.20 of Bitcoin is what? Let's see. So let's even say what's Bitcoin price right now? So invest like $21,000 to $30,000 in Bitcoin and you're good. He said you don't have to do anything else. I don't take that advice because he says then Bitcoin one day is going to be $1 million. Okay, so when it's $1 million and all I have is 0.20 times 0.20, I just have 200,000. And it says with that you won't be you'll be wealthy, you can't be poor. You're like you're set for life. How is that possible? So you see what I mean? All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I hope that you will be in church tomorrow. God bless you. All right. 1 second. Let me give Pupunita the link here. Give me 1 minute. Lucy, give me a second, please. I'm almost done. Okay, I'll put just email me and I'll send it to you just so that I have to go now. It's done for the day. Oh, thank you guys. God bless you. I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful evening. For those of you in North America.